Hey guys, Lisa Salvatore here. I'm recording this video to talk about Saturn stationing direct tomorrow, September 18th. I wanted to get this video out yesterday on Monday, but I was hit with a migraine and it was not fun. That's normally my day off, technically, not really off, but that's my day where I don't really deal with clients necessarily, and I just kind of focus on correspondence and errands, and I was in bed all day. And my eyes are still super puffy, so I apologize, but I wanted to get this video out because Saturn is stationing direct tomorrow, and you are likely feeling it if you're sensitive, and even if you're not, being more aware of it, you'll probably understand something a little bit better from listening to this. I hope, at least that's my hope. So Saturn is a power player in astrology, which is why it's important to focus on the function of the three-ringed planet. Saturn is considered a malefic, which means unfavorable, let's just say. But it really isn't. Actually, Saturn, when used properly and when you understand his function in both your birth chart and also just in the sky simply as to what's going on right now, it really does make a difference because you can learn a lot from it, and from what you feel, it will make more sense. So Saturn has been retrograde since April 29th of this year, and he is in Capricorn in its natural home sign. So Saturn does very well in Capricorn. But whenever Saturn's in Capricorn, Saturn spends 2.5 years in each sign, so moves through the zodiac pretty slowly. And Saturn is a transpersonal planet, so transpersonal, we do feel it. We don't necessarily feel it as much as we feel like Mercury and Mars and Venus, but we do feel it deeper, if that makes sense, because the lessons are much more impactful and they're karmic by nature, so they tend to be repetitive. So anything going on in your life for this whole Saturn retrograde, basically starting on April 29th and then tomorrow, especially around the 18th, paying really close attention to stuff that's come up for you repeatedly, perhaps in the form of people, places, situations, jobs, lessons, things that you keep maybe coming up against, or what feels difficult and limiting to you right now. What is really hard for you or to grasp or to wrap your head around or to understand, or why does this keep happening to me, or why do I have to keep dealing with this person? Because it's karmic. And karma is not good nor bad. Karma is simply just consequence, and that is what Saturn rules over, is our karma. We have all incarnated here for a reason, right? And those reasons are to connect and to live our most authentic selves, and we get bogged down in the day-to-day, but we do also have lessons that our soul chose to come here and work through to clear and heal and move up a level, let's just say. So how do you know what your karmic lessons are with Saturn? Again, you can obviously have your birth chart done. It's very impactful. I always tell everybody, everyone should at least have their chart done once in their life, probably somewhere in their, I would say every 10 years, 20s, 30s, 40s, and then even shorter durations when you get into it, when you want to know about your transits, because it is so helpful. It helps you to understand your psyche on a much deeper level. You're able to perhaps put a name to what you're going through, or just having somebody say it to you, it just really resonates on a much deeper level and it clicks, and then you start to understand more, wow, I really do show up that way in all of my relationships, or maybe I do blame people when I should be looking at myself, or however, maybe I let people take advantage of me, whatever the case may be. Saturn will heed those lessons, so it's really important that at least once, even if you look it up online for free, you can do it at astro.com. It's very simple. It'll talk you through it pretty much, just to find out where your natal Saturn is. When I say natal, that means your birth chart, because your birth chart is always your chart. It never changes. It is the snapshot of the sky, the moment you were born. Even twins will not have the exact same birth chart. That's how intricate it is. This is why I'm so passionate about it, because the more you learn about it, the more it just brings awareness and understanding and consciousness to the things that need to be brought out into our awareness. So I'm totally digressing, but I just want to get as much in as I can here. So with Saturn right now, collectively, Saturn is stationing direct. So what happens is it's like a release point can come up, and we look at what we've been going through the past 6 months, what we've been learning, what we've been examining, what we've maybe been revising, especially when it comes to like our work projects, our home life, the really important things that are surrounding structure, because Saturn rules structure. And on the most higher end of Saturn does teach us some valuable lessons, but we have to heed them, and we have to go through them and then grow through them. But which is even more important right now about this Saturn stationing direct is that Saturn is stationing direct right in alignment with the South Node and the moon. And the south node is also in Capricorn. I've spoken about the south node and the north node before. What they are is very karmic sensitive points. So everybody has a north node and a south node. The north node is where you go to grow. It's your karmic mission. It's where you're supposed to move towards. And the south node is what's familiar and comfortable and what you're used to and where your instinctual habits lie. So your comfort level will always be with the south node. That's the bottom line. Whenever the south node is involved, it is our Achilles heel. It's what we know. It is what we go to by default. Now, with Saturn stationing direct, it's like, no, release everything that you know and move towards everything that you don't, that you've been working on, because you have to change. Saturn wants you to change. Saturn can limit us at its worst. It can limit us. It could block us. It could delay us. It could restrict us. But it is not to give us pain. It is just to have us get so tired of our own nonsense that we have no choice but to kind of break it down and then build it back up in a different way for ourselves to give us a more complete structure internally and externally. That's all that it is. Saturn is known as the keeper of time, right? So everything will take the time that it takes. That's Saturn. A job will take the time it takes. A relationship will take the time it takes. To make these changes will take the time that it takes. And you can't rush it with Saturn, because if you rush it, you'll screw it up. That's the bottom line. So there's a lot going on right now. That's collectively. Now, personally, you want to look at your own chart to see where Saturn is at the moment, because that is the area of life where you may feel like you've been perhaps clobbered with a lot of lessons, or it could be less dramatic than that. It could just be you are feeling it. You're feeling tension, restriction, blockages, all of those things. But it will be in a specific area of your life depending on where Saturn is in your birth chart, where it's moving. Because like I said, your chart will never change. It's always your chart. But the planets are constantly moving. They're transiting. And they're always going to be transiting through a specific part of your chart. And because it's Saturn, it's a 2.5-year transit. So that area of your life in that 2.5-year time span will be getting Saturnian lessons, right? Growth. Hard growth sometimes, but necessary growth. And when you actually heed the lessons and make the changes, you get rewards and blessings. That's the whole nature of Saturn. It's the karma of it. So for example, if Saturn is transiting any of the fire houses in your chart, which would be the first house, oh my gosh, I gotta think a second. I should know that offhand. Fire house. First house is Aries. Fifth house is Leo. The ninth house is Sagittarius. So any of those fire houses, if Saturn's transiting through those areas, the part of your life that would be feeling that the most energetically would be the areas of your self-confidence. So that would be like, who am I? Where am I? What am I doing? Where am I going? Is this really me? It's like almost like a small identity crisis, right? If it's in any of those houses. When it goes into the earth houses, which is the second house of Taurus, oh my gosh, give me a second. The second house of Taurus, let me think a second. Cancer. The sixth house of Virgo, and oh my gosh, second, the sixth, and the 10th house of Capricorn. When it goes through the earth houses, the function is going to be like on how you show up in the world, your public image and your possessions, what you own, what you have, what you value. So Saturn will give you a hard dose of that. Like, okay, maybe you are very into your money situation, and then all of a sudden you take a hit with gambling, and now you're thrown back to square one because you were abusing that power. So Saturn's saying, get serious about your money. That's just an example. It doesn't have to be that severe, but that just goes to show you, like, when it hits certain areas of your chart, that section of your life will definitely be impacted somehow, even if it's just you getting more serious about it without something negative happening, but you're still learning lessons because of that Saturn. And then when it goes into the water houses, which are the 4th, the 8th, and the 12th, it's like your inner world kind of takes a little bit of a beat down, because it's like, what's your home? What's your foundation? What your psychological stuff, your inner world, your psychic world, what's going on? Who am I? Again, it's like, am I really representing myself properly? It's, again, no matter where Saturn is, it's like a small identity crisis, right? And then lastly, when it goes through the, fire, earth, water, air houses, which is the 3rd house of Gemini, the 7th house of Libra, And the 11th house of Aquarius, again, those areas, communication with your siblings, your family. It's also when you're in groups, how you speak, how people perceive you. You know, all of that, those areas of your life, your health, those are all areas that will, when Saturn goes through those houses. So you want to see where it is in your chart, because you will feel it. And it could give you a kind of like a leg up of awareness, because you can sit there and recognize the lessons that you've been having come up again and again and again. And now you'll know, okay, this is karmic for me, this is my Saturn, and now I need to clear it somehow. Or make changes, make the necessary changes so that I can grow and I can advance on my journey. If you don't care and you're totally comfortable and want to stay the way you are and you don't want the growth and the change, then by all means, you probably wouldn't even be watching this video. Ignore what I say. But if you really do want to know more, I have to tell you, lately I've been doing a lot of charts, a lot of people coming to me for their first time, and they are fascinated with the information. And that's not for me to say, oh, I'm so great. It's not what I mean. But it's more like just the information that comes out in your chart. It's like your soul gets rocked, literally. I know for myself from years ago when I first started learning astrology, I was constantly fascinated. And to this day, I'm still more and more fascinated by everything that I'm still learning. Because the goal is to help people, and the more you can learn about it, the more you can help, right? So please, please, please try to take a look at where your Saturn is right now, see what it's doing, and really, if you want some self-analysis, go deep and see what's been happening in your life. Where is it? What is it doing? How has it impacted you? Has it changed relationships for you? Are you willing to make those changes? Do you want to? What do you want? Like, this is Saturn. So as Saturn stations direct, I would say the most significant points of this transit are going to be right now, because it's stationing direct literally. So I'd say like now, and then straight up through the new moon on the 28th is also extremely significant and important to look at where you are right now on your journey and how you feel. And you'll be honest with yourself. Do you feel good? Do you like where you're at? Then great. Do you not? Are you not happy? Do you know things need to change? Then great. You know what needs to be done. But the more you do the work, the more you will be rewarded. I hope that this makes sense. If you would like to inquire about my services, please click below lisasalvatore.com. I do chart consultations. The first one is a set fee, but then after that, when we work together for transits and such, it's a lot less. So please take a look at that if you're interested. I hope that you all take really good care of yourselves. I will be back with a reading for the new moon in Libra on September 28th, and I'll talk to you all soon. Bye.